All right, so I got some shit to say. I feel like if they're gonna be cutting the EBT on the first, we should be boycotting. Okay, I feel like they always showing niggas like we are the only people on food stamps, which is not true.
No one ever said black people are the only people on food stamps. But if you understood with per capita, you guys represent a higher percentage of the population on food stamps based on that. While the numbers, the raw numbers, might be less, you as a percentage, 13% of the population has a higher percentage of people on food stamps than a lot of other groups. You are overrepresented when it comes to food stamps, is what people mean. If you wanted the numbers to be exactly even, U.S. 13% of the population should be 13% of the food stamp recipients. Yet you are like 25%. And while white people make up 70% of the country, they're only 45% of the recipients of food stamps.
And some of y'all don't like talking about these topics because you feel like they're taboo. Not to me. I do whatever the hell I want. I say what I want. I speak my mind because I feel like I have to stay true to myself. And I feel like why would we create situations where it's inhumane when we would create situations where people could be starving? And a lot of people be like, oh, you can go to a church or this and the third. And not to disrespect church because people from churches, they be having good hearts. But a lot of that food is not healthy. And we all know that healthy food is expensive. Now, a lot of people will say, well, they shouldn't be on no government program. Bitch, you know what? If you so motherfucking rich, why the fuck is everybody faking it to make it? Then, here's my other issue. Y'all be like, oh, they shouldn't be on these programs. Woo. Well, guess what? They price gouge every fucking thing. Everything is so goddamn high. Everything.
Yeah, you know why everything's so high, like you said? Because of those stimmies that were released. And I will criticize Trump for that, for the stimmies during the pandemic, which caused an inflationary spiral, and it caused for prices to rise at an unprecedented pace. That's the problem. That's what happened. And then we had runaway inflation for the 4 years of Biden, and they lied to our faces and said it wasn't happening, it was transitory. Don't believe your lying eyes. So we were just supposed to believe like prices weren't rising at far above expectation year to year under Biden, while everyday Americans were struggling. And I just want to know, I could be wrong, somebody correct me here, but it looks like she's wearing some sort of weave, right? So she's got makeup on. She looks like she's in a nice apartment or in a nice place at least. Why are you on food stamps? Why are you wasting? Why is a person who has money to spend on weaves and wigs or whatever on food stamps? You should be using that money you spend on weaves, which I believe they're like $300 or more. If I remember correctly, somebody telling me weaves are not cheap, especially if you get the ones that are real hair. And again, I could be wrong. I kind of see her hairline there. It looks natural, but I guarantee you she has a couple of them. I guarantee you she don't go without her weave. So why are you on here complaining about this? And yeah, you shouldn't be on government assistance, not long term anyways. I'm not saying there aren't people that need the help. Like I've said in previous videos I've made about this topic, I do believe that there are people who genuinely, legitimately need it, like the elderly, people who are disabled and can't work. But those people who make having children a career just so that they can get government assistance while they're able-bodied, I don't feel bad for those people. I'm sorry, but I just don't feel bad for people who can go out there and work, but decided that their job was going to be living off government subsidy and government assistance. I don't agree with that. You're right, and I don't agree with people going hungry. But you take what you can get. So you're saying, we're not going to eat, I'm not going to take church food because it's unhealthy. So then you're just going to starve? So whose fault is that? That's your fault. You don't want to take the food. Beggars can't be choosers. You as a beggar cannot be a chooser what you get to eat. And that was one of my biggest problems with the migrant crisis that we had. And when they were sending these people up to New York and they were complaining about the food that they were getting because it's not a culture fit for them. So they started giving them cash so they can buy the ingredients that they needed so they can make their own food. In hotels that don't allow you to cook things anyways. If you are running away from oppression like you say you are as a migrant, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here, you don't get to pick what you get to eat. You eat what is given to you because that's what it is. That's what is available for you. And same thing goes here. If the food bank only has canned goods, canned products, that's what you get to eat. And EBT was never meant for you to go to Whole Foods and buy expensive, healthy foods like you think you're supposed to be buying. It was meant to be for you to buy the essentials that you need to survive. That be canned goods, that be pastas, that be meats and vegetables at a cheap price, not the organic stuff that you think you need. And again, she looks pretty able-bodied to me. Why is she complaining about food stamps? Go get a job.
Some people, the only thing they got money to cover maybe they rent, and they ain't got it they ain't got no budget for everything else because the cost of living is high. So why the fuck do they have to suffer? Like, we should have free health care. There's a lot of things that need to be changed. We don't need.
One, you can blame the Democrats for the shutdown. They're the ones who refuse to sign a continuing resolution, a clean one that just keeps the budget at the level that it is. They want to do more spending so that we go into more debt, the dollar is valued less, and then the prices of products go up. The same thing you were complaining about. Second, there is no such thing as free healthcare. The government doesn't produce anything. The government can't magically give you healthcare. We would have to raise our taxes to European levels, which is 50 to 60% on everyone, to be able to fund those programs that you think are free. That is the reality. And then you're going to complain that the government is taking 50% of your income. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? But these are professional leeches. These are people who do nothing for themselves, who have never had to work in their lives. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have a job. Maybe she does. But these are people who are too comfortable living off the system because they're not the ones who have to dole out the money from their pockets so that they can get the things that they need. It's other people. So it seems free to you. It seems magical because you're not the one spending the money. Of course it's free to you. But it's not free to the taxpayer who has to pay for you to live on government subsidy. That is the problem.
Program. We need the world to adjust to being realistic. And I hate people who lack integrity because they'll be like, oh, it's not my problem. It's not until it is, until they on your ass. And then you're going to want somebody to have your back. No. If y'all just would stand for something, everything wouldn't be an issue. We don't need to be sensitive about bullshit. We need to be realistic about real shit. And that's what I got to say on that topic.
She wants us to be realistic about real stuff. Yeah, the reality is that those things that you are advocating for don't come from anywhere. They come from the taxpayer. The free healthcare that you want would come at the cost of 50 to 60% of your check. That's if you work. The food stamps that you're crying about, again, comes from the taxpayer. These people think that the government actually produces things. The government just takes our money and does whatever they're going to do with it. The government doesn't actually produce anything. And so, like I said, I do feel for some people who are struggling right now, mainly the elderly and disabled people who can't work, who need this kind of help so that they can get by. But I don't feel an ounce of pity for able-bodied people like you who just want to live off the government. But that's all I got for this video, guys. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. And if you like what I do here and you want to support my work, I have links in the description box below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.